discuss about the topic how to learn English. Now, everyone must be wondering what is the right way to learn English. Everyone has a different way of understanding, different way of analyzing things. So when you're learning English, right, if you look into the scientific theory, there is a famous educational theorist named Neil Fleming who had a warp concept, which is, so you have the warp concept by Neil Fleming who had given this, which is the model for student learning. So if you look into the warp concept, everything is described in this. V stands for visual learning, A stands for auditorial learning, R stands for reading or writing, and K stands for kinesthetic learning. So these are the four ways that anyone can learn. So these are the four ways that your senses work. Visual learning, whenever you see any object around you or you visualize that picture or image inside your brain, that's one way of learning. Second way is auditorial learning. Auditorial learning is when you hear to any sound around you, you listen to music, you watch a movie, you listen to someone talking. So the information that you get from that is called auditorial learning. So that is from your ears, that whatever you listen or whatever you speak, you listen the same thing. So anything you read out louder, you're reading a book louder, so you're listening that's called auditorial learning. The third one comes reading or writing. Now, whenever you're listening something, you're not able to memorize that, so you make a note of it, right? You read that later on. You're very good at reading. Once you read something, you can understand that. So that's a third way of learning, reading or writing. And the fourth one is kinesthetic learning. That is, if there is anything you want to learn, you have to understand the concept behind that. Like if I talk about a clock, so if you want to understand what a clock is, you have to understand how the clock works. So that's called kinesthetic learning. However, when we are trying to learn language, whether it is English or any other language, let it be Spanish, German, French, Chinese, or let it be Hindi or any other regional language of India, if you want to learn any language, then the best way to learn is either through visual learning or through auditorial learning. Now I'll tell you how. You would say that how can we learn from visual? So visual learning helps you when you see anything around you, any object, like you're seeing this particular thing. This is called a whiteboard. So now there's an image inside your brain that a white kind of thing, a square or a rectangle piece of on which we can write is called a whiteboard. Now that's an image imprinted in your brain. So that's visual learning. So you can understand the things around you. You can give names to things. You can give names to a person. Okay, you can give names to a place. Like you visited a particular city, now you know that how does that city look, and if you see any image anywhere, you can say that this particular image describes this place, or this particular image is from Delhi. Like if you see Jantar Mantar, right? So you know that's in Delhi. You see that image anywhere, you will say that's in Delhi, right? So that is visual learning. So now coming to auditorial learning. Now, how is auditorial learning effective in learning any language? How will auditorial learning help you to learn a language, or how will it improve your speaking skills? Now, when you're doing the best way, right, when we are trying to speak any language or trying to practice any language, right, what's the best way? The best way is to practice. And to practice a language, you have to speak or you have to listen, right? So when someone else is speaking, you are listening. When I'm speaking, I'm listening to myself. So the best way to learn is either through visual or through auditorial. So these are the two ways that we can learn English language or any language for that matter. Now coming on to, before learning any language, it is very important that you know where do you stand, at what level are you, from which level you should start, practicing. Now there are two things. If you ask me, I have differentiated anyone who is learning language into one is who is a beginner, and the second one is, I would say, a level up, or you can say intermediate. Okay, so whenever we are trying to learn English, I would say that any beginner person is equivalent to a kid who is trying to learn new alphabets, trying to associate around his surroundings. So whenever, if you think you are a beginner, so if you are not able to analyze around your surroundings, the best way to learn new words, I would say, is at the beginner level to understand around you, right? How do you impersonate anything in your house, whether it's water, it's your dinner plate, it's your tea bowl, it's your window, it's your door, it's your bed, it's your mattress, it's your laptop, it's your keyboard, anything around you. So first comes the place where you live, your house. Second comes either it's your workplace or it's your college, it's your school. The third thing that comes is on your way when you're going from your house to your college, to your office, or to watch any movie, to enjoy yourself. You're going to a friend's house, you're going to watch a movie, you're going to a party, wherever you're going, right? So all these three things you can learn any new words. So the very first step to learn any language, not just English, any language, you have to first learn what is it called. The second, I would say, after that is framing simple sentences like how are you, I am fine, what is your name, right? So these are the very simple sentences which is of either 3 words or 4 words. The second, I would say, when you have learned how to speak simple sentences, make simple sentences, you can understand what someone is saying, you can, and what I am trying to say, right? So then we come up to level up, which is intermediate. In intermediate, you have to understand. Now here you have to improvise yourself. Once you've improvised on your basic vocabulary and simple sentences, and you are able to understand. So when you have completed all this, then we are going to level up, which is intermediate. Now here it comes as a little bit of grammar, pronunciation, I'm writing in short form, punctuation, and the fourth and very most important thing out of everything is, I would write it separately here in bold letters, which is practice. Now I am saying it's quite simple, there are only 2 things, but when you want to learn any language, right, you have to do practice. Now if you're trying to learn any language, it will not come out in one night or in a fortnight or in a month. You have to practice this continuously for at least a year. So if you want to learn any language, or if you have any of your friend who is learning any language, go and ask him that how much time did you take to learn any language. He would say he would have at least spent 6 months or 1 year in a coaching institute around him to learn that language. So if you also want to learn any language, you have to spend at least a year or minimum at least 6 months giving continuous effort, trying to learn everyday new words, practice. Now the major challenge is anything you do, the first and the last thing that's most important is practice. That is, speak as much as you can. Whether you speak a broken English, whether you speak wrong sentences, whether you pronounce it wrong, doesn't matter. You have to speak. If I put it in simple words, by hook or crook, you have to speak. Whether it's a 1-word sentence, 2-word, 3 words, 4-word, 10 words, what you feel, just speak it up. At last, practice. There's a very old saying, practice makes a man perfect. And when you're learning language, that's very well suits it. So practice as much as you can to improvise your speaking skills, whether you're a beginner or anyone. Just practice. So now I hope you must have understood that what is the way to learn English. If you have any questions, you have any doubts, or you want to ask me anything, drop me a comment or send me a personal message. I will answer you back. For now, take care. See you in the next video. Bye bye.